Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up? This is the Protect Your Neck podcast. I'm your host, Dan Tom. Analyst is work you can find over at MMAJunkie.com. But on this here program, the Protect Your Neck podcast, well, we break down high-level MMA. That's what we're going to do here tonight. Whenever you're listening to this, hopefully it's for the fight as I get the tweets out and do all that deal. My one-man producer self, thanks for joining in the chat. See Chronic Combat Conversations. See Eric Betts Fights. Much more, who I'll get to in a second. Thank you for piling in. Don't forget to like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Daniel Tom MMA. Yeah, we'll get this party started shortly. Feel free to jump into the chat. I'll try to acknowledge it if I can. Obviously, I'll get to it in groups, hopefully, if it's nothing too crazy. But you guys are all pretty positive in there, which is pretty cool. So thank you again. Audio listeners, thanks again. You can always give it a positive ratings and review on Apple Podcasts. I'm getting these up much faster, so that's always good, right? I'm going to get this tweet out and we'll be underway. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Appreciate the participation in the chat already. It's nice. Yeah, we're going to do a recap on this show because I didn't do one, but we'll blow through it. Not because I, ate shit, but... But no, just because I just want to try to get this done fast. Speaking of my guy Eric down there, I'm going to be doing his show. It's a good excuse to try to get this show, under an hour and a half. I wanted to say under an hour, but I know better. I know what happens when I say that, right? We're not going to say that. Yeah, we're going to do some shouts, some Amazon reads. So we'll get through a decent amount of stuff, but we're going to do it in a decent amount of time. Yeah, okay. All right, make sure that went out. Cool. Awesome. All right, what's going on, everybody? My guy, Alvin Yakitori, what's going on? Great to hear you talking about high-level MMA. Be able to, with this, proud combat sports fan, look forward to your, thank you, Alan. Super positive. Makato, what's up? Hello back to you. Samuel, what up? Ready to hear Ricky Simon Vato. All right, you guys know what's up. We got some seasoned listeners in the chat. You guys already know what's up. We got Jimmy Kudo. Hey Dan, you Drake Riggs from MMA Media, Heavy Hands, Jack Slack. I'm like, oh, what are you listening to all these awesome people and putting me in there? But thanks. Are my go-to people when listening to what they know they're talking about. Thanks. I try. I don't know how good I am compared to some of those people, especially with their specialties, but I just appreciate even being considered in that mix. Thank you. Melanie Ewing, are you familiar with the female MMA fighters? What are your thoughts on her? Of course I am. Started MMA training after she won her belt in Shenzhen, but only as a hobbyist. I almost went to that show in Shenzhen when she won the title. Some kind of like distant family relatives established connection there. They got like businesses down there and stuff, and probably a good thing I didn't, man. Like, can you imagine, especially like the symptoms I was feeling, like pre-COVID stuff? I would have been like, what? He's half Chinese and he went to China? I would still be locked up probably. Kidding, halfway. Just kidding. No, she's awesome. And then, were you inspired by someone too? Wow, that's an interesting question. Wow, okay, she just sidetracked Dan. Now he's going to go off on a long, nostalgic tangent. No, I'll say that for another show. Just in short, like, I was probably just, like, a fan of a lot of the kids of the 80s and 90s. Like, I watched recycled Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan of age, but, like, I probably came across, like, Van Damme first, having that kind of shoved down your cinematic throat, if you will. Easy. But, Bloodsport's classic, right? All those things. And, yeah, I was just, like... I don't know, I was never really good at sports and stuff, so I just kind of, I don't know, went to martial arts. I don't know if one person in particular inspired me, though. That's a good question. We'll get back to that. Phantoms. Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. What's up, Dan? Do you think Yair's habit of spamming kicks can get Ortega easier? That's a good question. I'm going to page mark that, and that's a good excuse to push on in these breakdowns, because that'll happen in the breakdown. Of course, check the timestamps whether you're listening, not live, I should say, because I don't have those timestamps now for you guys. But I do start the breakdowns in the same format, from top to bottom, somewhere in the middle of the show, and I recap my picks and plays at the very end. Dude, I'm still like 1,400 watch hours away from being able to monetize. But, like, I don't know. I felt really slimy. A lot of people hit me up for my picks and plays, even though, you guys probably could help me on the watch hours there too, but those of you listening in hindsight here. But, like, no, in all honesty, I try to keep that format, recap the picks and plays at the end of the episode. So, without further ado, let's recap how bad we did. I wrote I suck. Yeah, that is true. We went 5-6 overall. This is UFC Vegas 58. Fiziev DeSantos 0-1 for parlay piece / parlay. 0-3 on straight plays. By my own thing, I should stop using that. Not stop using it, but I should at least call myself out on it. Because every time I hear he's got 3 straight submission wins, and it's like, what about his gay submission wins? That's my retort every time I hear the announcers use that. Like, oh, it's 7, and I do it too. I'm guilty of it here. But anytime I hear that, now I'm gonna poison your guys' brain. Every time you hear he's got 7 straight finishes, you're gonna wonder about the gay ones. And again, not judging. I want to know. Curious. No, just kidding. 0-3 in straight plays, 0-1 in props, and 0-4 in round flyers. Big misses. What do the kids call this? The reverse sweep. I got the broom busted out on me. Yeah, definitely. Ate shit. We're gonna pull up those results right now. I'll do the results and then I'll get back to the chat. But I appreciate you guys popping off in there, and I will definitely shout you guys. Of course, one of the plays I was just going to stick to and call it a night, which I probably should have. Again, it would have been a 100% losing night anyways, but I would have lost less. If I just stuck to playing Dos Anjos, maybe the round flyers, and calling it a night. I knew Fiziev was going to have success early. I thought he had good takedown defense technique, but as far as proven, dedicated grapplers, small cage, all those combinations, experience, 5 rounds, all that stuff. Yeah, we needed to see it, and we did. I was impressed. I'm not going to downplay it. I wasn't upset at the stoppage. It was just weird at first because it just visually I was like, what did that just happen? But me, man, as passionate as I get about things, whether I bet them or not, I'm pretty keeping that same energy. And I'm not I'm not usually the robbery guy. I'm not usually the early stoppage guy, which is fine if it's your opinion. It kind of looked like it at first. I'm not throwing shade or condemning anybody who had that opinion. But upon a different view, I think most of us kind of were quelled by that. And then of course RDA, the man himself, just being all class, right? But something that the Couchside Judges brought up on the Couchside Judges podcast. Shout out to Dan Urban and Scott Fontana. Something. A lot of, the criteria folk in the media will bring up, benefit of the doubt to those cage side, their views, their angles, both for what they're seeing, perhaps why they go some way, or perhaps what they didn't see, perhaps why they didn't go away. And I feel like that's a damn good example of it, right? Where we show that camera angle where, but from one angle it looks like suspect, right? But from another angle you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what he was seeing. And even though Mark Smith, not my, maybe not particularly my favorite, maybe not the most consistent for sure, but I had to take back a lot of what I said about his kind of shakiness. Although I do believe that translates. The guy was a fighter pilot, so when it comes to these really weird. There's one of the Contender Series. I don't know if it was Jimmy Crute where he head kicked the guy and the guy was kind of out on his feet, and you're like, what are you stopping that for, Mark Smith? And then we went back to it, and you saw the guy was just checked out, and you're like, wow, that was actually a really good stoppage. I think Mark Smith, maybe because of his fighter pilot experience, maybe he's got again, not my favorite, not the best. At least you're not going to hear me say that. But for those real split second, where there's actual trauma and impact, and I'm not saying he's not guilty of early stoppages too, but for ones like this, damn man, take some good eyes for that. So. Props to him. Props to Fiziev. It was a lost ticket. RDA tried his best. Got a little careless at the beginning of the round. It wouldn't have mattered, I guess, on the scorecards, which I would have guessed it was 3-1 anyways too. So again, no crying here about it. But it was clear that Fiziev was fading, and it was a clear round 4. At least I felt fairly clear anyways for RDA. So there was that, does he pull something out in round 5? Would have needed a finish, and that would have been the best payout. But, it was not meant to be. So we'll move down and get through. We had Saeed, no, not that one. Kyle Bohio defeated Armin Petrosian, unanimous decision. This one kind of went how I called it. But again, I was sketchy about betting this one as a wait and see. Could have took the opportunity to get my decision back on Petrosian, but I just didn't like the prices, and I wanted to see what Petrosian had, man. The guy's scrappy, you know what I'm saying? I don't dislike the guy. Said Nurmagomedov defeated Douglas Da Silva, Deandrade. Shout out to my man Brad Tazchuk. Again, no crying here or anything. If anything, I probably got more annoyed by this one because you could actually, again, like people who actually, are analysts and analysts who have trained striking and trained MMA and people with, I'm not saying their opinions are better than everybody else or that they don't get it wrong, but for what it's worth, when those people on my timeline are largely saying one thing and everybody else is saying the others, I tend to lead to the people, the analysts and the actual experienced people, and those people were saying, it was close. I personally have no issue for it going to Nurmagomedov because of the body work, right? For as much as the spinning stuff, and I talk shit about that scoring, and I said the spinning stuff was actually going to hurt him more, which it did. It costed him position. Hold that note for the main event we're going to talk about shortly, folks. It did cost him position, right? And if anybody who landed the more effective spinning stuff, you could argue it was Douglas Silva de Andrade. That was a legit knockdown. Now, again, we're not boxing, nor should we be like boxing, nor should any rule be default all, right? Like a knockdown sort of thing automatically was either wrong. I don't subscribe to that. I believe it arguably could have, though. The optics of him not doing anything. We'll get to Carl Roberson. But I remember, I don't know if I bet on Carl Roberson versus Wellington tournament. I think I might have. And I remember watching live and Carl Roberson get on top and have the ability to steal the round. He kind of just stood over him like Douglas Silva de Andrade. And I remember saying, as somebody who picked and played that fighter, right, going against my bias, going, I don't care that I picked him. I don't care that I bet him. He doesn't deserve to win that round because he just let that go. It's easy opportunity. Even just do those like little leg kicks and stuff, which de Andrade did try to attack legs, even if it was his elbows at points. And Herb was, I believe, who was the ref there, was very, not giving him very much time to capitalize on it either, to Douglas De Silva's defense. But yeah, that sucked because it was one of those fights. Again, it was much closer than given credit for, and you're gonna look on the scorecards and just see Dan's decision and figured it was domination when it wasn't necessarily so. That being said, I have no problem for Said Nurmagomedov. Excellent body shots. I actually like his style a lot, so I look forward to seeing more. Chase Sherman defeated Ivan Vendera. Give me sight beyond sight. Now, I make my own decisions or whatever, but I definitely got some some friendly encouragement from my fellow heavyweight bettors out there. And if you are going to bet heavyweight fights, you just bet stupid stuff like I did. But you make stupid bets and you get stupid results, and or you make stupid decisions and you get stupid results. As Vendera just decided to kickbox, regardless of how you thought the scores shaked out. I wasn't really watching too closely, but he decided to kickbox with Chase Sherman instead of taking the obvious advantage, and there you go. Grapples with the guy he's not supposed to, and doesn't grapple the guys he is supposed to. So I don't know if he'll get another shot, but something to note. Hey man, Zahabi defeated Ricky Tercios. I didn't watch this. Apparently it was a bad fight. Ricky Tercios did karate stuff. Unfortunately, I did pick Tercios. Was happy to see, hey man, Zahabi win. Jamie Malarkey defeated Michael Johnson via split decision. I was loosely watching this, so I couldn't weigh in on a score. But my loose interpretation was that Michael Johnson won, and I definitely was sympathetic to all of you guys who had a Michael Johnson ticket. Value was on the dog, although I did pick Malarkey, and the Malarkey fight gets it. Speaking of Australians, my guy Mark Fellows is in the chat. Let's do a little chat cleanup. I'll get to yours, Phantom, as far as the spamming kicks can get Ortega takedowns, even though Ortega's bad at take. Even though I kind of answered that with the Said Nurmagomedov analysis, the kind of similar analysis is going to come your way. I'm going to cite examples. Shout out to my guy Abby Subban over there at MMA Junkie. If you guys notice the breakdown videos, we're getting a bit better. I'm sending timestamps in, and Abby's just a talent. So is Kenny, all the video guys at Junkie. But showing a lot of the examples, as I talk about in the breakdown video as well. Rain Lamina, hey Dan, why are there so much accusations of Whaley using PED? I get a lot of Whaley. Is it the red shirt and the half Chinese? Am I just getting all of the? Am I the official Chinese MMA correspondent? No, I'm just kidding. No. Appreciate the answer. Why are they getting so much accusations of Whaley using PEDs due to improvements she made in a short time? Seems like people are just looking for hate, or do you see a valid side to their argument? If you want to put on your glasses and look at what places get accusations of steroids more? There's the classic Brazilians. There's a classic training camp in Thailand. What did they go to Thailand for? There's the the China, and again, man, I'm not going to try to go down this and give people more fuel and go down that path, but whether it's China or Russia, we like to kind of point, like to kind of point and choose, but like a lot of these countries, doesn't matter, where they're from, right? But yeah, it's no secret that state programs, experiments from steroids to a bunch of other stuff, right? A lot of evidence of a lot of that stuff going on. And again, not throwing stones, comfortably from America here or anything, like not saying one is up. I'm just saying it's a fact, right? So maybe it's a lot of that kind of like geopolitical bro science bleeding in. She also does her camps in Thailand, which again, like Overeem, right? Another guy who gets those accusations. When he'd go to Thailand, like, what are you going to Thailand for, right? But then you have my guy John Young Ko like tweeting out like, hey man, I'm seeing USADA on the regular training over at Phuket Top Team or something like that, or Tiger Muay Thai, I think he's actually at. So I'm sure they're getting better at sending people out there. So I don't know why. She is a crazy athlete. Would it surprise me, if someone was sneaking something into her cereal? No, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if any of them, you know what I'm saying? And you look at what they're having to put their bodies through, and boy, I'm wishing I had some, you know what I'm saying? I got to schedule a follow-up. Fuck, I forgot to do that today. Apparently my testosterone came back normal despite, I'm like, but I suck as an athlete. I've always sucked. Can I get something? No, just kidding. No. I just want to make sure I'm up to, mainly for, depression, other cognitive issues, light doses of testosterone, just making sure you're at a level base for people who have a long history of head trauma. It's not a bad idea. So I'm not hating or anything, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Ricky Simon, Bato, Fight Week. Anthony Sotelo, what's up, man? Chris London, what's up? Yo, DT, listening to you on the golf course today. Big dog card for me. Hope you're with me on a couple. I hope so too, because there's not a lot of dogs I like, and I felt kind of like, because of that, I almost feel like pressured, like peer pressured into playing one, and oh god, I am not liking it for a lot of reasons. Dan, stop fading the Russians. All right, we'll get there. Dan, stop. Yeah, we'll see, but there's a lot of things where even if I pick the favorite, it's like I got dogger pass feels, so don't let my picks dissuade you here. And again, only time to get through so much of the cards, so I'll definitely hit that up. Ray Lamina was sad for RDA. Me too, but great adjustments from Fizzy. Indeed, I really like that combo at the end. Was really sweet. Mary Rui, hi Dan, new to MMA, started following last year and willing to learn from good people. Awesome. I don't know what you're doing here. I'm just kidding. Thank you for joining. And hopefully I can help introduce you to more good people to help listen, educate, and further the enjoyment. That's what we got to remember. We're here for it. Jin Caruso. How much film do you watch per week to prepare for your podcast? As much as I can. I used to pride myself in like watching everything for each main event fighter. I just make sure to take deep dives on the main event fighters. I don't necessarily watch everything anymore. Don't have time to. And with the cards, cancellations only increasing from COVID, schedule increasing, card amounts increasing, from Contender Series cards to everywhere else. It's just really difficult. It's the ever-growing battle. Trying to do it as efficiently as I can. James Kendrick, Ghost Phantom, WMMA Mania boys are here to represent you and Drake. Drake's a good man. Good to see the representation. Nerds of all type are welcome, even WMMA ones. Ghost Phantom in the house. Dan, we have two high-level analysts, Ghost and yourself, in the show. Well, I appreciate Ghost being here for sure. Shouts to him. We got Rio Sozan Trusdale. What's up, Ghost? Team Whaley all the way. We got a lot of Whaleys. I love it. How excited for Leash? I'm very excited. We'll be getting to those. General question, can you kick a wrestler? If so, how would you advise? I will get to that, James Kendrick. I will page mark there and blow through the rest of this recap. Just wanted to check in with you guys. Let you all know you ain't getting ignored. Cody Brundage defeated Trace Gore via KO. I didn't watch this one, man. I picked Trace Gore, but this was one, kind of answered a question. This was one I wasn't targeting. Didn't really make the time to look. Didn't have to write about it because it wasn't on the main card unless it got pushed there last minute. So I didn't have any investment. Didn't watch this one ahead or live. Anthony Shevchenko defeated Courtney Casey. Picked Shevchenko. Didn't have a strong feeling. Didn't watch it, so I can't tell you if the split decision was legit stuff or just like, I don't know. Do we have Courtney Casey and Angela Hill in the battle of split decisions, David Onama defeated Garrett Armfield via submission, arm triangle choke. Congrats to anybody on the Onama submission. Again, not really a fight I targeted with the change-ups last minute. Wasn't even sure if Onama was going to stay on the card at a certain point. Kennedy Nzechukwu defeated Carl Roberson. Boy, should I just listen to myself. I didn't want to bet it. I found more dogs to bet on the card, and I still ended up betting it, because the past tape, it's like, let's just bet on the more skilled fighter. But the size difference did account for something, especially not so much of the jab that Roberson supporters were worried about and Nchukwu's backers were touting. It was the wrestling that even took Nchukwu backwards by surprise, because he never, I believe, what was the stat? He didn't complete a takedown or something up until. Definitely an underrated takedown defense, I thought, which was why I thought Roberson was going to have to strike more, but he took the candy. He took the fool's gold and trying to grapple, and then just could not adjust from it. Yeah, man, dude just got thrown in there too fast. The glory kickboxing thing didn't help him. Him, both being and looking the part of an athlete probably didn't help him. People probably overinflated his skills. Seems like a really nice guy. But yeah, just couldn't tread water. Took on too much water. Thought maybe he could get a lifeline here, but no, was wrong. And again, this one I feel bad about losing, despite being on the wrong. I have a sweep. I feel bad about that. But Kennedy's story, man, like I was saying last podcast, the dude takes care of I think his brother's Down syndrome, his mom has ALS. Comes from a great camp. I love Coach Saif Sayoud. So, yeah, honestly, there's actually silver lining to losing that one. I actually don't feel too bad. That I think it was that 3/4 unit. That wasn't a full exposure at least. So whatever, for what that's worth. A dog I took, but I didn't play. Of course, he was I didn't get as much research as I liked, and he kind of was at even minus money by the time. Saeed Yakub Kakhramonov defeated Ronnie Lawrence by unanimous decision. All right, what is the time there? 2:20 or 22:16. Not too bad, especially since I intermittently mix these things in. Gonna give some shouts as I clean up the chat. Quick note here, I wrote UFC likes racist guys. Fanyo. That's a shout to Fanyo from the fight site, because he just made me laugh. I think he was talking about Third Reich's Duplessis. I was like, that's kind of true. Southpaw Pod, man. Awesome episode. They had a MMA fighter and coach there. I don't want to brutalize his name. I believe Coach Rami, I want to say. For short. But a Palestinian gentleman from the Chicago area, and I love me the Palestinian perspective. A lot of other stuff they just cover as far as MMA and those episodes. That episode, go subscribe to Southpaw Pod. My guy Sam Yang, shouts to them. I'll shout Chronic Combat here in a second. Oh, and then I wanted to shout my guy Clint for the Vandera shout. He gave me a shout on Vandera and the Eye of Vandera, Sight Beyond Sight. I'm glad when there's people that make me feel less old and they appreciate my stupid references. Those people are my favorites, because I'm an old nerd. What can I say? All right, we have the chat here. General question: can you low kick a wrestler? If so, would you advise someone to do so properly to avoid being taken down? I think there might be a wrestler low kicking that might get taken down when we get to this fight breakdown. But yeah, you can low kick a wrestler. It's just setting it up. It's kind of the same counter, and sometimes you see that counter parlayed into the takedown, which the traditional counter from a striking standpoint is the cross, right cross, or left cross if it's the much more rare southpaw versus southpaw matchup. Generally orthodox, you get an outside right leg kick, you get the right hand down the middle. Lazily thrown inside leg kicks can lead to punch counters too, obviously. But yeah, that's the classic one. And then you'll see a lot of people do that reach down for the outside low kick, combining with the punch. So that's just kind of the classic one. You just got to set it up, because more the takedown than the punch is what you want to worry about. Shout out to my guy Luca Fury, always tweeting about fighters kicking and punching range. And again, the caveat and the add-on to that is there's no setup to it as well, no feint, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's the same on paper risk as strikes. How excited are you for? We got that. Andy G, what's up, Dan? Fresh cut moment. Thank you. I did it myself. Went a little high on this side, but I'll just stay pointed to this side, so no one will notice. But yeah, no, I did it. Thank you. I grow it myself. I did it myself. And then I cut it throughout the week because I never have time to do it in one sitting. It's crazy times. Henderson Grunger, are you going to be doing live chats like this every week? I'm going to try to. You guys seem to like them, right? If you do, hit the like button on the window. Let me know, bro. Sneaky marketing there. Yeah. You just let me know. It's fine. Jesus Christ. This thing just jumped on me. We got Emily Park. Good evening. I was watching Whaley versus Joanna 2. Noticed that Whaley was going with the body kick more than the kicks in the round. Do you think it's better to attack the body with punches or kicks? I'll tell you, as much as I'm a big body puncher, I'm getting my sparring back, my timing back in sparring right now. And boy, is it not fun. One, because again, I'm not a world beater of any sorts and never have been. I'm not an athlete of sorts of any or ever have been. I'm rusty as all shit. And not only am I trying to get my timing back right now, I'm trying to get my timing back against, and I don't mean this as an insult, but a lot of beginners, and those are often the hardest. There's times where I felt in my prime and in shape and on timing, and then I'll get with a beginner and I just feel like I'm fucking off time. So it's always kind of hard to judge, okay, how much is it of me being out of practice, how much of it beginners, although I did get clocked by my guy Richie today, good left. I was asking for it, I was leaning forward, Southpaw, and I'm thinking his best punch is his left hook, and he just tagged me with one early, and I was like, damn, Richie, we going. No, he just was keeping me awake like a cup of coffee. And then I just remembered to not go to the body, which I did, and I was just getting tagged. And I was just like, I kept wanting to throw kicks to the body, but we weren't allowed to because they don't have their shin pads from the program yet, and not everybody has them, which means we can't. I wanted the body kick so bad. It's a preferential thing, body punching is great, but one sets up the other, head sets up, or body sets up the head. That's what we always preach. But, head sets up the body too, you kind of gotta, get their guard up first, encourage that shell with some straight shots, then rip to the body 1-2, right? And then after you've established the body threat, you've got a threat to the head, right? If I ever land a leg kick, for example, I'm like, sweet, I've got a free head punch or body kick at the very least, at least with my arsenal, because I know they're going to be thinking about that. Especially when you hit someone, everyone's expecting and worried about getting hit to the head. When you hit them to the leg or the body, even if they're kind of expecting it, it's always kind of catches you more off guard, and it can get in your head a bit more. And you can use that against somebody. They're worried about that. I'm going to look at their leg now and really sell it and go high, and you can play off that. So it really comes down to personal preference, but you just got to remember everything plays off each other, plays off it to get into the body work, and you got to play out of the body work to get the rewards upstairs, or if you want to go back down low. One man's opinion, not a guru here or anything like that, just my opinion. We gotta say we're gonna do last every week. Glad to see. Hey, Drew. Always glad to see your content, Dan. Keep chugging along. Mark Fellows, there's Australia. Heading out for Korean barbecue. Ooh, eat some good stuff for me, man. Get some kalbi. Oh, man. And cleansing ale. Oh, catch a show afterwards. You have a good one, Mark Fellows. Oh, my God. Come on, Malarkey. F3024, Mark Fellows, you son of a bitch. Always a good show with Dan Tom. High level. Thank you, Bernie. And Samuel. No scarf hold for Van Dam. No scarf hold indeed. All right, I'm going to hold off there. We're going to start this breakdown here. We can get a time in. Time in, game on, 28:52. All right, we got UFC. Wait, real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give a quick Amazon reads. Guys, mixedmartialanalyst.com. Little banner on the right. You guys can do the PayPal donation if you want to donate to the show. Help keep this free show running. If you shop it on it, there's a banner still there, and if you shop at Amazon, there's a banner still there. But yeah, you click through the banners through no extra cost. You just do your shopping. It sends a percentage of your sale back to this here show. Now, for the Amazon stuff, it doesn't say who you are. So if you want to, again, if you want to have one night in Bangkok, right, the David Carradine special, go buy the Vibration Max 5000, the Karate Gi, the rope, the whole deal. I won't know who you are is the good news, but I will pontificate on your purchase of product. And it will list here. It won't list who you are, won't list your bank card, relax. But it will list what you bought. All right, so let's go to that real quick. Let's see what was bought since last week. Somebody bought Tero T300B Liquid Ant Killer, 12 bait stations. Listen, there's only one bait station here, and I'm broadcasting. I'm just kidding. Jesus. Wow. 12-year-old humor, the Protect Your Neck podcast. You couldn't help yourself. Wow, Dan. You see bait, and you just can't help but put the master. Somebody else bought a Miracle Grow potting soil. Potting soil, you say. What exactly are you growing? What are you potting? Please, do share. Just kidding. I'd rather you be growing drugs than, Timothy McVeighing it. And is that the correct 90s reference to just further age myself? I'm guessing the next person who bought potting soil bought this. Now, speaking of a one night in Bangkok, I thought someone took me seriously for my joke last week because all I saw was Flexzilla, and I was like, "Whoa, what did somebody get?" Because I'm sick like that. Garden hose, Flexzilla garden hose. I saw the 1.5-inch diameter. I saw Flexzilla. My head went places. Okay, I'm sorry. Someone else bought Philippine brand dried coconut stack. So we got the Pacific Islander crews watching the show. What's up? I get mistaken for Filipino a lot, so I might as well be honorary. I grew up with enough Filipino friends. So yeah, man, what's up? Yeah, there we go. I don't know if the same person was catching up on snacks. They bought, nuts, dried diced papaya, 2-pound bulk bag. Thank you for that. Appreciate that purchase. Let's see. Page 2. Is that too far? Which one was from last week? I don't think that was from last week. The Batman. I just watched 7 with my girlfriend. We just watched 7. Same thing. Thank you for buying it, though. Not shitting on it. I'm just, saying. 7. If you see 7, you're good. Somebody bought Scream 2020 limited edition. All right, some Scream. Hello, Sydney. I had to do that for a movie once, like an amateur movie, like slasher movie. They had me do the Scream voice, but I can't do it. Secrets of... Oh, no, that was from last week. Hey, what were the secrets of Dumbledore? What's he up to, huh? Is it Sandusky leg? I know. I mean, listen, I'm waiting for the case files to come out. Listen, I know Hogwarts turns a profit and all the kids come back wizards, so no one's asking questions, but you know what's going on there. Secrets of Sandusky over there, Dumbledore. We got you. Thank you for buying that, whoever did, though, by the way, as I just completely probably just not just mock your purchase, but probably sully your childhood memories of Dumbledore. And that is it. Thank you for purchasing that. All right. Now we're going to go to the breakdown, guys. I promise. We'll get through this. All right. 32 breakdown. Amazon breakdown. We got who the fuck is headlining in Long Island? Oh, yeah. We got Brian Ortega minus 170. Or minus 165. Yair Rodriguez plus 140. Man, I've been becoming more of a fan of Yair. Like, especially after that last fight, showed some countering improvements. I mean, defense still suspect, but the dude's just an offensive dynamo. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you that. You guys already know that, but he is, and it's really impressive. So offensive, so dangerous in the selections that perhaps could he be the person to derail the legendary durability of Ortega? Of course, I'm not going to tease you guys too long. My main event breakdown's already out, so most of you guys already know where I'm heading with this. Especially if you took off the Douglas Da Silva, Andrade, and Said Nurmagomedov hit. It's a similar dynamic. We got the bigger cage, of course. Shouts to my guy John Morgan MMA over there. Tweeted that out for us degenerates, right? We got the bigger cage over in Long Island, so that's going to be good for strikers, even though it's not stopping me from picking some submissions here. Spoiler alert. But yeah, kind of as said earlier in the chat, and I imagine it was the read for a lot of people. It was certainly my initial read, and then I went and picked out the specifics like I teased earlier. But when you spin, you're gonna fall down, and not even so much that. Here's what surprised me: like that was the read, but when I went back to watch, it was the amount of late round shots. I don't know if it's all that Jackson that stint at Jackson Wink. I mean, now he's kind of just nomadic, and I don't even know if he's been back there to train, right? Usually if he's in New Mexico, he seems to have stopped at, Cowboys the last few years, right, if anything. But he has that very Jackson Wink mentality of, spinning stuff, flurries at the end of the round, and late round takedowns. And not even just late round takedowns, because he's got underrated wrestling both defensive and offensively, right? It's the matchups that it calls for, right? But he'll even go for Imanari rolls. And whether it's against Max, who's not a great wrestler, but he would still end up on bottom, or against, against Max, who, again, is not a great wrestler, but has a good front headlock choker. More telling, because that was his recent one, right? And then more telling, he gets crushed by Frankie Edgar. Finally, you get the veteran, the vet lesson. You get crushed on the ground. Not like a jiu-jitsu freak, even though Edgar's got great jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt to go along with his wrestling and uses that in conjunction with his wrestling to put maulings on people. TKO, doctor stoppage, right? After all that time, and I know Chan Sung Jung's not a wrestler, but again, and that didn't happen yet as the time they fought. But again, look at what Chan Sung Jung did to a wrestler like Edgar. Got good wrestling, and more important, just opportunistic finishes at the drop of a dime, right? Especially from that front headlock choke. We saw that more earlier in his career. Jung, like a lot of fighters, rely more on their striking for many reasons, potentially, right? Later their career goes on. But if you look at that fight, I think it's like rounds 1, rounds 3, at least, and there's about 3 or 4 total instances, but at the ends of rounds 1 and 3 in particular, I mean, he's just like doing Imanari rolls and shooting these bad takedowns and like almost giving his neck, ending up on bottom, ending up in bad spots. Like, it is just really, I'm like, why would you? That's the last thing you'd want to do. What the heck? And it's just a continual trend. He just does it kind of with everybody. He just will go to the ground, but if he ends up on bottom, even if it is against a Jeremy Stevens, he gets stuck there. If you can beat that scramble, he's very athletic and wiry and tough. But he'll also kind of lock himself in there a bit too. He's gotten better at get-ups and wrestling and this and that. But yeah, like I just feel like he's probably going to be lighting Ortega up early and is going to give the fight away at some point. Probably before he can finish Ortega, because Ortega is just stupid durable. You still got like Tiki in the same team, I'm guessing. So you're not going to get not only not going to get a stoppage if it should be stopped for like the umpteenth time in a row, you're going to get you need to earn this, Brian. Who knows? Maybe we get Herb Dean in there too again. Oh my gosh, go back and watch that. Volk got the stoppage, folks. It should have been a doctor stoppage, a ref stoppage, and a corner stoppage. All 3 different instances, at least 1.5 attributions as far as each of those parties' chances on different times of the fight to stop it. Anyways, I still, but but again, for that heart that they keep forcing Ortega to show, maybe because of those he gets it here. But I don't know, man. I just feel like this fight ends in one way by submission. The way he's talking, refocusing himself, how mad he was that he didn't get those subs, and admitting that he did that mistake like wrestlers do, where they kind of ignore their wrestling and then they get out wrestling. They're like, oh crap, I had that false sense of security. It sounded like he had that awakening with his jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I feel like it's either going to be an RNC or more likely a front choke. I'm seeing an anaconda, to be honest. He's really going to have to kind of use a full body leverage, front headlock kind of a deal. Yair gives it, even just standing, right? Like he gave it to Max, a front headlock standing, just by dipping. It was like very Tony Ferguson, Lando Venata-esque, right? Where fighter dips too much and they just they wrap him up there. They catch him on the dip. So there's just too many ways that Ortega, and Ortega still, even though he wasn't able to hold guys like Max down or whatever, like he was able to score takedowns on hard people to take down traditionally for whatever that's worth. So just there's too many multiple pathways to the mat in a fight like this, despite us being in the big cage. That doesn't even deter me from this read. I went a whole unit on Ortega by sub. I didn't get the plus 400 opener or any big openers or boosts or anything cool. Just a plus 210. You know me. I'm never the bragging guy about alignment. It's not my thing. I'd rather be right. And to prove that, it's like, dude, I think the ones where I'm like, even like Tavares, right? Like whoever, like Tavares was a recent one where I'm like, by the value argument alone, I don't have to justify my bet. he opened as a favorite, now he flipped as a dog. I got the better price. It's like whenever I have that, like those are the kind of line movements that I get, and then I'm usually wrong on, right? So, yeah, again, another reason I'm not a big like line movement guy. But I did take the sub for a whole unit at plus 210, and in one of my houses for fun, I played round 3 sub because that's my official prediction. Plus 1400 point. I know, take a shot. 0.17 unit. I got to get someone make me a gif of someone like. Maybe not loading a gun. There's too much like violence and stuff. Something like that where it's like 17 year, 0.17 year, 0.17 year. You know it's coming, baby. But I don't know what Yair by decision is, but that would be the other thing I would look at. If you like Yair or you're just looking to bet both sides, or you're looking to bet the Yair side, whatever. It's your money. You do what you want. Just telling you where I'm at and my analysis of it. It's Yair by KO, probably Yair by decision, Ortega by sub. Most houses are listing, over at plus money. Yeah, under, yeah. Yeah, I'd be scared at totals here. So, yeah, I just shot for the sub, and I'm just going to be on my way. Next fight, Amanda Lemos, minus 300. Michelle Waterson, plus 250. Mom champ, yeah. That's all I hear, Michelle Waterson. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, she's tougher than, I tend to give her credit for. I was surprised she survived against Rodriguez. I don't think she's going to survive against Lemos, but I didn't play that. What are they giving for Lemos by KO? Which could be different because she might even get just like the club and sub. She hits Waterson, and Waterson's probably going to shoot, right? And either get it or get subbed in the process, kind of a deal. Oh, Lemos by submission is 1,200 if you like that. By TKO plus 225, opened at plus 230, and Lemos wins by decision, the most likely plus 100. Yeah, I want to parlay Lemos with 1 or 2 legs, which I'll get to, and I didn't lay anything, so not too hard of a tease. But again, I'm going to let you guys know what I'm looking at. Just some things that I didn't get to finish my tape study on, and if I didn't finish the study, I'm not going to play it, much less tell you to play it, much less give some hard opinion in this volatile sport we play is MMA. Let me go to the chat before I get to this next one. Make sure to hit the like, everybody. Thank you, Eric. Please make sure to hit the like. Appreciate that. Thought the body work from Jamie Malarkey should have gotten him the nod. I didn't watch it, but good eye on the body work. I appreciate that. Edgelord, I love that name. How often do you train MMA, and are you Orthodox or Southpaw? You know me, I'm a big-time Southpaw, baby. I switch stances. Really like working from Orthodox, as I have to box from Orthodox. I'm like the only Southpaw in the freaking room, too, right now. So that's both cool and shitty because then you got to learn everything like Orthodox. And then I train MMA. Right now, I'm back to 5 days a week in this program I'm on. And then I went in on last Saturday for grappling. And I don't think I'm going to go in this Saturday because the fights are early, folks, so fights are going to be going on while I'm in class, so while there's classes, so I don't know. And my stepdad as well is in the hospital right now. Like my mom and them are supposed to be going back to Hawaii, and then the issue with the dogs and my mom and the neighbors and me getting into it. Then the day after that, my stepdad going to bingo, falls on his face, and busts his face open. Has to go to the hospital. While in the hospital visit, 1 day visit, contracted pneumonia, which he's extra susceptible to with his lungs, so he's fighting it out stable, on and off CPAP, so dealing with that right now too. But yeah, I know it's never a dull moment, but not sure I'll be training this weekend, but yeah, 5 days a week. Sorry, long answer. Ricky Omang, hey Meng, I better not go 0-2 betting on my fellow Rickies this Saturday. Man, I better not go 0-0 or 0 whatever. Let's just go opposite and 0, Ricky Simon, vato. That was Karate Ricky, baby. Hello, Jersey Lee. Hello. All right. Jimmy Kudo. Do you know what Jimmy Kudo? Do you know what Yair's overall strategy is? Seems like he's just trying random kicks. He just kind of goes for what's open, and he's been getting better with his boxing and parlaying that. But yeah, not a lot of process of not exactly the process-driven fighter, an athletic cheater, an athletic opportunist, if you will. Not me or Connor Rebush's favorites types, but yeah, you can't. You do something, you do it well. I can't hate on that, man. This guy just sees and he goes for it. Tron Carter. I feel like every moment this fight is on, I feel on the feet Yair will be winning. I feel like that too. I feel like he's going to be piecing him up pretty hard until something happens, right? Something's got to give, right? This is a really hard fight to call. Ortega by sub is a good call too. Gene Lesser, do you tape study every fighter, or do you rely on your notes only for some fights? I should rely on my notes more, considering, speaking of 7, like my closet is slowly turning into Kevin Spacey's, minus the whips. I'm talking about the notebooks, obviously. But I want to keep an online database. Those are more just like past notes that I do for my in-depths. But a lot of it is tape study because you can't remember. Sometimes I'll even read my write-ups on fighters like for Contender Series, and I'm like, I still have no recollection of who the fuck this fighter is. Yeah, you got to go back and watch the tape. And Dunbar's number, it really tests you with this many fighters to process. Don't know how y'all do it because it's my job and I barely can do it. Wishing your family good health. That's sad, but hope you can pull. Thank you very much. Hopefully they can recover. Thank you, James. Thank you, Jimmy. All right, back to this fight. We got Muslim Salikov as the favorite. Minus 165, Li Jingyang, plus 140. Man, stop fading Russians, Dan. Stop it. You know what? I think I've only picked against this guy maybe once too, which is crazy. Salikov. I like his style, man. Even though he's older, his eyes still look sharp in exchanges. His boxing and his striking almost looks like it's even getting better in the fact of getting more comfortable in that cage, right? His wrestling was kind of always there and underrated because of Wushu Sanda. It's got a lot of takedowns in it, so he's got to be aware of takedowns coming at him. But positional stuff, don't expect him to do much with it, which is why there's not much layers to it. It looks like his wrestling's gotten better working with his fellow, Dagestani fighters like Ramazan Ameev down there. I know you'll see some American Top Team in his photos, but it was literally just a week. The guy is just transitioning down there. So he still had a long ways to travel. And so did Lee, the Leech, but Lee didn't do the 1 week or whatever. He went down to Sanford MMA as well as South Florida. But he did a whole 12 weeks down there. And this is interesting, and at first I was like, dude, Salikov looks like he really cross counters the hell out of jabs. Is one of his favorite things. He just loves countering jabs, and from Jose Aldo all the way down, because he's at the top. I love me fighters who counter jabs, and when you get those fighters who counter jabs and they face someone who jabs, I'm just like fucking all over it usually, right? Lee's improved his boxing a lot, but he actually didn't jab as much as I remember, which is a good thing. He will stick and move and kind of welcome the kind of fight that Salikov wants to have. That's a bad thing. But he doesn't give a lot of the looks that Salikov triggers off of. And blitzing right hands and counter right hands seem to be the common culprit for what Salikov gets hit with, and he can get rocked too. I don't know how many of his 13 losses, in contrast to his 70 kickboxing ones, were by knockout. But the guy can definitely get rocked, and he's getting up there as well. Neither are the biggest welterweights, so neither's going to have a huge size advantage. Lee doesn't go for takedowns as much as I remembered, but that doesn't mean he can't or won't. He's got a decent shot, decent strength against the fence and the clinch. A lot of the times they're off of scrambles or kind of fights getting messy, and that's just generally what he wants here, whether it's striking or grappling. He just wants this fight kind of to be messy. Salikov seems to be a really good leg kicker when people leg kick him. But I don't see too many checks. And Lee will go for those calf kicks. I imagine him, training down in South Florida at Sanford. Even though American Top Team probably more stereotype for the calf kick still. I guess I'm just trying to say I wouldn't be surprised to see those here. And ultimately, third rounds. Lee can get hurt in the first round, and Salikov has strong first rounds. They're just hardwired into him. Salikov, again, he's gotten better. He's gotten more comfortable at managing output, efficacy, efficiency, all that stuff, right? But if you look at it from numbers, which I don't look too heavily into, or just the general success of fighters having, like a fighter that shouldn't be having that success, like Laureano Staropoli. Even that guy's like, he lets him back into the fight in round 3, you know? Or fighters have a good round in round 3, or able to bust his nose up and pressure him and win the round. I believe like Trinaldo, right? Grandpa Trinaldo there. Shout out to the MMA analysis. So I think round 3 is going to be live. I really hate this. Honestly, I'm looking at it right now, and I think this might be my only dog pick, so I'm playing it. I fired off a unit at plus 140, but I don't recommend you necessarily follow me off that. I'm just being completely transparent what I did. Kind of like my Carl Roberson, maybe this is the same open, because I sound as confident about it, right? Even though I'm actually laying a quarter of a unit more. What you can do, and I did, is you can just pass and play the D-Love special. Shout out to Derek Love, D-Love, Master of Love. The D-Loves that watch this show, but Master of Love, that's the round 3 special, plus 1,200. I didn't get it at the 1,400 that it opened at, but you know me, I like that plus 1,200 or higher for round 3. I got that, you guessed it, 0.17U. And Lee by sub, plus 1,200. Again, another plus 1,200 number. I put 0.17U. So again, potential 2-unit returns on both those. Lee has submission wins. They're all by guillotine. And again, Salikov likes to shoot. That was another thing. The reason why I'm picking Lee here is that Salikov, he likes to, which I get. Like, I kind of have that too. I like to counterfight. And when people get too close, I like the clinch. I really like it there. And Salikov seems to like it there. But again, like with Yair, spinning guy and opportunistic takedowns, like that. Why, like, spinning, you're already opening yourself up to be countered or taken down hard. Why are you going to give that even more to a fighter who is, you know, a better ground fighter than you? A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, which Lee the Leech is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, as well as a Sanda fighter. So he actually comes from that. That's why there's actually a big rivalry. And that's actually kind of what worries me, is because this fight was supposed to be going down. They both have been on each other's radar, but, like, from my recollection, the interviews and that I've seen, and is that Salikov's been calling him out for a long time. So that's like, that kind of worries me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, part of me, am I being biased here by going for the Chinese guy? You know, going with the Chinese guy to beat, you know, the Russian guy who's claiming to be the king of kung fu. It's like, no. If anything, I would like Lee to win, just because all the racism that he gets on. Go to his IG, by the way. You go to Fighter's IG, go to Lee's IG, go to, like, comments on anything. Holy crap. Like, people are like, you know, he's eating, like, dude's enjoying some, you know, some American meat, man. And it's easy phrasing. But, like, you know, I meat in all countries, even Europe, not just picking on China here, and I've been to both China and Europe, folks. Like, meat is different in the country. The dude is enjoying eating some meat. Go read the comments. It's like, you eating dog? And I'm like, oh, great. Reminders from childhood. Glad those are still around. Yeah, dog. That's what we eat. And then just like, you know, like COVID or this or that. Like, it showed him in Sumadarji, and it was just like everyone's bringing, you know, COVID jokes. Like, oh, geez, here we go. And just all like someone, like, I saw someone post like, F you, Lee, Tiananmen Square. What do you have to say about that? I'm like, I don't even think Lee was born when Tiananmen Square happened. You know, he might have been like 1 year old. Like, what the fuck does he have to do with that? You know, he's a UFC fighter. Just, I mean, it's ridiculous. Holy shit. But the dude comes in all smiles, you know. Good on him, man. Good on him. But yeah, he's got a tough fight. He's got a tough fight, folks. I don't blame anybody not telling me. I love Salikov's style. He's the deserved favorite. I'm not even hating on Salikov here. This is a big match for both of them, and Lee just seems to really be taking this seriously, man. And you know me, MMA experience, it's hard to turn down. I know I picked Alex Pereira over Sean Strickland, and I was right. I called that fight, right? And maybe it's the same thing here. You know, maybe that trend continues here, and or the Russian trend continues, or the trend of me betting against Russians and losing continues, or just the trend of me losing continues. Again, a lot of bad omens here, but can't rain all the time, as Brandon Lee from The Crow said. Speaking of Seven, the actor in there that runs the sex house is the guy that killed Brandon Lee. Little trivia there. But yeah, so I threw a little bit on Lee sub plus 1,200, Lee round 3 plus 1,200, both 0.17 units. And, he could win this fight by decision. He could win it outside of round 3. He could win it by KO as well, right? Seeing kickboxers KO'd in MMA isn't the craziest thing in the world, right? But yeah, so I did Lee 1 unit plus 140. Don't need to follow me off that cliff. Gonna break down the rest of this pretty fast. We got Sumaderji minus 260 and Matt Schnell plus 220. Here's what I wanted to shout out. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it the Chronic Combat Conversations? Because I'm gonna blame / credit them for getting this in my head. Because they're definitely a podcast I like to kind of pop on as dessert on fight day. Good dudes. But and now every time I hear Matt Schnell's name, I just hear the song, "Ooh, Matt Schnell, don't you smell Matt Schnell?" Yeah, so now I have that shit all over there. Wow, why do I have a comment highlighted? That's weird. Am I still broadcasting? I hope I am. It still says I'm live. I don't know how I brought up that comment. It was probably an accident, but hey, cool. Thank you. I'm still learning how to do this shit, folks. But the breakdown. I'm actually going to go with Sumaderji. I did watch some tape on this one, actually. Matt Schnell is 1-1 with an asterisk on the victory against UFC level Southpaws. Because he beat Jonathan Martinez outside of the UFC, but he beat him by getting DQ'd and kneed in the head. I didn't go back to watch that to see how he was doing. I'm not sure how relevant it would be because it's so long ago. And then the Southpaw he lost to was Brandon Royval was his last fight, which he was actually doing good in the striking department, if you remember, before getting guillotined there. Looked like he actually had some really good answers for the Southpaw. Hand fight in the lead hand, almost like Volkanovski was doing to Ortega, and really just taking off that angle and launching his combinations off that, which was really cool. I'll be curious to see how he does against Sumaderji. Fighters who can counter, Southpaws, long fighters with that kind of length and height parity. You could really point to those as a kind of common thread when you look at Matt Schnell's losses. And Matt Schnell doesn't go for as many takedowns as I thought either. And he's got decent technique too. I mean, he's a flyweight bantamweight. Of course, fighters at the UFC level in those weight classes kind of should have good technique everywhere, right? They don't have to stand out everywhere. Ideally, they would want to be, but I mean, but technique wise. But like explosiveness in the shot, like I don't know, I didn't see it. And Sumaderji's wrestling, I know he's spent time at Team Alpha Male and American Top Team, splitting camps there for the last year or so, and even before that, actually had some nice wizards, good split of the hips, showing some really good fundamentals in there, good sense of himself. So I actually think he can get the knockout. You can get that for plus money if you want to take a stab at that. It's probably only plus 100. The only other play I would say would be Schnell by sub, which I think is still around the 700 range. Obviously, there's more value on the bigger number, but and I was looking in that direction too, just like for another dog here we'll get to in a second. But ultimately, I picked Sumaderji. I'm not going to say it's a dog or pass because if you want to take that plus money shot on Su by knockout, I don't blame you. I haven't and probably won't for what it's worth, but it's there. All right, let's chat here. Ricky Simone fight week, yeah, baby. He's got some island connection, doesn't he? There, we go down here. Does Lee have a better chin than Muslim? Yeah, he still hasn't been stopped. That's the thing. It's like Lee gets hurt a lot, but he hasn't been stopped. So it's like, I'm siding with Ortega, with the other person I bet by sub. Well, I'm going to side with the durability and another person I bet by sub for their durability. It's like I would want to say, like, gun in my head, yeah, but I'm also picking and playing Lee. And also, at the same time, even though I would say that and I'm picking and I'm playing Lee, if he got stopped by Selikov, like, would I be surprised? Like, no, I wouldn't. Still played him, but I wouldn't. Why do you think body work is not scored well in MMA? Isn't it a good thing if you can win someone. It's just I still haven't reached out to the judging contact that my guy AB was so kind enough to give me. But I'm gonna suspect it's kind of like the basic answer as far as why striking in general is biased, and cutting it further to your point, why head striking is more biased than body or perhaps leg. It's just because it's easier to see. We're more wired to see. We're more wired to be value/be wooed. If we're more valued to be wooed, we're probably more. Or if we're more wired to be wooed for something, then we're more wired to probably value that thing, right? So I think it's just easier to see body work. It's easier to interpret it. We've got conditioning of Rogan and everyone go, oh, even though to me, I just love hearing the announcers go to the body, right? But it's the same thing. I think we're just naturally more conditioned to the head. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And I can go on bodywork tangents for days, my friend. But I would love to hear from an actual judge on why they think it is, right? That would be interesting. Campbell Mercer, hi. I listened to your UFC 261 post show and have been subject from my friends to be a traitor for support Zhang Weili. Can she do more for people to respect her? She's a great fighter. She is, but again, man, I feel like she was turning people. Like she was trying to speak English, which people, especially in North America, really like, right? Americans really love, like, oh, they're trying to speak English, and you hear people say that more well-meaning. It's not like it's a racist thing. Everybody who says it is racist, but like there's definitely that, right? And I feel like she was kind of playing to that for what it's worth. But then again, what I just said with the Lee thing, like you just look at it, it's just like, don't get me wrong, like MMA comment sections are internet scummy. MMA comment section internets can be scummy. MMA, you see how they treat these fighters, right? Especially how they treat female fighters, right? Jess with the bets, fighters with bets on while we're on that topic. Like, it gets levels worse, and I feel like women and people of color are at the top of that. Like, it's like there's like an extra layer, and again, you see it a lot with Chinese, and again, it's not just me standing for this. Again, there's a ton of, you want to talk about hate and people having it out for whatever reason. Gay, trans, LGBTQ. Boy, have those groups been unfairly just getting it lately. So I don't know how much of it's the common culture. I've waxed about that before. You guys know where I stand, but it's always it's always answer E. A little bit of everything, right? It's the political answer. What are your thoughts on Brian Campbell anti-Asian rhetoric? He keeps talking about it. Does he keep talking about it? I haven't been watching the show. If you're referring to from like, what was it, like almost like a year and a half ago, for the Kaya Sakura thing, or the dude who was flashing the white power signals. I was public and vocal about that. Luke Thomas, shouts to Luke, addressed that stuff right away. Called Brian out on that for whatever that's worth. I haven't really watched the show since, to be honest. I kind of, I wish them the best, man. I think they have a great show. Aside from that stuff Brian did, he's a creepo who likes 90s stuff, and I say that in all due respect because I'm a creep who likes 90s stuff. So aside from that, I was actually a big fan of Brian Campbell. So he apologized for that from what I hear, unless you guys tell or show me different. I haven't heard any complaints from that front. It seems like that show's kicking ass, and I'm not a hater, man. I wish them the best. I've always had a lot of respect for Luke and still do. And the dude's been grinding, man. He deserves all the success he's getting. So no hate. And yeah, I was really probably one of the most public. So no need to dig up, get me all riled up and dig that up again. But if there's anything new, feel free to send it my way. I guess I am the Chinese official whatever now. I guess no, I'm just kidding. I appreciate the love, but I appreciate the well-meaning love. But yeah. Wish Morning Combat nothing but the best, man. Those guys are kicking ass. Do you agree with my assessment that we can expect better cards fight moving forward? UFC puts on. I'm gonna get to these questions here in a bit. I'm gonna push through with a breakdown if we're getting more into technical questions. Next fight, I'm taking Sumanderji by knockout. If that wasn't clear. Next fight, Shane Burgos minus 165. Charles Jourdain plus 140. I'm going to try to push through the rest of these fast. I'm going to be on my guy, Eric's channel. If you see him in the chat, go hit subscribe on his channel. I'm going to be over there. And he does fun trivia, so there'll be some different stuff. I'm sure he's got some fun stuff cooked up. This fight, I went with Shane Burgos. I didn't go back to watch tape yet on this fight, but even if for whatever reason I go the other way, unless I see something like, whoa, I cracked the code, everybody. I don't see myself playing this fight either way. This is a fight you just sit back and watch, man. It's gonna be like the Michael Johnson, Jamie Malarkey fight of the card, if that makes sense. I'm gonna go with Burgos by decision, but a finish wouldn't surprise me. A Jourdain victory would not surprise me. Round 3 is going to be absolute insanity. I'm hopefully going to be able to just enjoy this as a fan. Next fight, check my main card. That'll be on my main card article too, by the way. For this one and this next one, I didn't do tape on, but I got to because I got to write these up in my main card article. Thanks for sharing those. MMA Junkie on fight day. Main card picks and prognostications. Quick picks and prognostications. We got Miesha Tate opening the main card. I don't know why. Why didn't we just have the other fight open it? Minus 205. Lucky Lauren Murphy. Plus 175. I love me some Lauren Murphy, man. She just seems cool as fuck. I know Misha's, from a gem. I gotta support her. She's the deserved favorite here, probably. Looks in good shape. Sorry, everyone was in the gym on Saturday, man. We had Aljo in grappling class. We had Claudia Gadelia. I didn't go with any of them. I'm just worried they're gonna recognize me and fucking kill me for the time I picked against them. Every time I look across the room, they're looking at me. They recognize me. Hopefully not. No, just kidding. I'll probably get strangled by all of them in due time. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miesha Tate here. Not confident. You can check for any changes, but either way, this is another fight where it's I'm not looking to play it for a different reason than Burgos and Jourdain, but all the same as far as the betting perspective. Next fight. I'm looking to play this one somehow, some way. Puna Soriano. I know. Surprise, surprise. What? Dan's back in the Hawaiian from Extreme Couture. Minus 225 for Puna. Dalcha Lungjambula. Plus 190. Yeah, this is basically, Dalcha was at XC. Where's my glasses now? It's going to be on there for the rest of this now. Dalcha used to train at XC, so I just imagine Eric knows what to look for with him. We did see some improvements from Dalcha, to be fair, but then, we saw with the Brundage fight, I believe, he can just make bad decisions and give it up. Puna can get, stuck in a gear of sorts, but then with that last fight, A, he won it. That was a bad decision. B, how much of him getting stuck in a gear was him, hurting his leg early on, right, in that fight, right? Although, you can look at the Brendan Allen fight. I don't know what the reasoning for that one was or whatever, just kind of getting stuck in the gear there, and then, not taking any credit for the things that Brendan Allen was doing right, like going to the body, right? Which can really mess you up. So, but yeah, no, I was going to look at Puna as a parlay piece with Lemos. That won't get you plus money, so I would have to add something else, either Tate or the Tate Murphy fight or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I want something chalky to play to balance out all these crazy shots that I've been taking fruitlessly. So that's what I'll be looking at. But still a couple fights I want to look at there. Dalcha Lungjambula, I believe, 1-1 against UFC level Southpaws. Beat Marcus Maluko Perez. Sure how much weight I put into that. And then, of course, got beat by one of the better guys in the division, Dagestani Stipe Magomed Ankalaev, who is Stipe Miocic wearing the Dagestani beard and a nose piece, as far as I'm convinced. Yeah. This fight I just watched tape on. Jack Shore versus a 155 versus, that's right, Ricky Simon Vato. Plus 135 for Ricky Simon. Simon Vato. Man, I came into this fight looking to bet Ricky Simon, but I ended up siding with Jack Shore. And that being said, do not fret, Ricky Simon Vato fans. This is a dog or pass spot in my book. My heart's with Simone. My heart's with you, Simone betters, okay? I came into this fight wanting to join the party, but again, I got to try to keep those biases aside and see what the eyes see. And, again, kind of similar with kind of Matt Schnell as far as, the common threads, size, tall guys, although it's more size parity for Schnell, but tall guys, fighters who can counter, fighters who can stay along with the jab, mainly just fighters who can really pop them counters. And sure, not necessarily, his counters in boxing are getting much better. He'll kind of come forward, he'll stick and move. He's fairly pliable in his approach. But he's in the stage where he's really sharpening things, as he should be at this point of his career, right? And I think we're really seeing that. He didn't jab as much as I would want to, like a Rob Font. But his other layers of it, whether it's his grappling level changing that he keeps in the back pocket, or the hooks and more pocket exchanges, if you're going to be a tall guy to fight on the inside, you got to kind of be able to change from long to short, or going short as they fleet to long. Anthony Smith's really good at doing that for a tall guy who prefers to fight on the inside, right? And Shore seems to have some of those sensibilities mixed with the long boy stuff too, which would obviously serve him better for this fight. His team seems to be a good game planner as far as when to pressure and whatnot. Hopefully, it'll be hard with Ricky Simón having his own level-changing potent threats and is much more better at getting the angles and lateral steps of his footwork. But those counters, both the jabs and those hooks inside, we've seen Simón stunned. As his boxing's gotten better, we've seen it less. But it's like both. It's both him getting better at skills, and you want to give credit for it. But then, the more tinfoil hat gambler side, you look at it and you go, Gaetano Perillo, Brian Kelleher, Pandemic Kelleher, taking fights up at 45. Now we kind of seen Kelleher since, maybe on his way out. No offense to Brian Kelleher, and I love BK, but you know what I'm saying. We've seen him in these types of matchups now too. And Borg, was a really kind of, just bad run, crazy personal life. That was like the first grouping in that South Florida pandemic card, right? I mean, how much can you really take from any fighters fighting on those as far as their performances? And then you see a Sunsao, which he looked great in. Excellent, just a sweet combo. You think he jab, lead uppercut, pull jab, right hand. Throws him, hits the shoveling uppercut on Sunsao, tries to get up, knocks him out. But, Sunsao, again, at the end of his rope. By the way, not that I go off this kind of analysis, but fun fact, Sunsao, that was his 4th loss in a row. The 3 losses before that, everybody who beat him lost their following fight. Go look at it. Cody Garbrandt lost his following fight after beating him. Marlon Moraes and whoever that other person was. But, yeah, the last 3 people straight. And then if you follow that, the 4th is fighting this Saturday. The one I'm breaking down right meow, Ricky Simón Vato. If you go by that woo-woo, maybe he loses here too. But the other read that I saw was Jack Shore. He has a really good lead left kick, and he doesn't have to switch to Southpaw to do it. And that's something I always look for with wrestle boxers. Even Simón getting better with his boxing and lateral movement. He's still, like all death taxes and wrestle boxers, getting hit by left-sided head kicks. Because a lot of them naturally embrace stepping off to the right side, crouching and dipping to the right side, and it's already wired into their level-changing sensibility. So you have level-changing and dipping and heavily to that right side, so knees, head kicks, and the like. Catching a head kick while you're shooting in, and it turns into a knee, right? A lot of times as wrestlers getting hit by this stuff, right? Koscheck, Aljo, right? So on and so forth. That's kind of the read I'm seeing here. So I'm actually going to pick Shore by stoppage. Either he's going to knock him out or get a club and sub. Because I don't think he can submit a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like Simón soberly. But I'm not confident enough to bet it. I think the value here is definitely on Simón, because I could definitely see Simón maybe, ragdolling him and just getting the better of the wrestling and scrambling, because that's his thing. He might not be that good of a control guy, but maybe if he just gets the visuals, the shots in transition, and ragdolls him, he gets it. But again, Jack Shore can wrestle too. He's got that really long frame where we see kind of mess up, on paper better wrestlers, those long frames and guys who know how to use it, which Shore looks like he does. When he gets those underhooks, he stays heavy. He clamps his elbows tight. He drapes head position. He does a lot of those tall things you want to do. A lot of things fundamental things John Jones actually was good about doing. quietly draining guys in there. So I'm going to go with Jack Shore by stoppage, but it's not confident, man. It's not confident. It's a really fun fight. It's one of the best fights in the card. My heart's with you, Simone backwards there. All right, Bill Algeo minus 200. Herbert Burns. Hi, Kyle. Sorry, Herbert from Family Guy. I'm 12 years old. He's stepping in on short notice. So he's going to be really live in that first round. Does Bill Algeo, with his kind of give and take style, does he give a little too much? Does he like, oh, crap, I'm in a sub, and he just gives one of those taps where he's like, God damn it, why'd I do that? You know? Is it one of those kind of deals, or does he do what I think he's going to do, survive, build, and either get a late stoppage on Burns or a decision? I'm going to guess that. I think that, you know, you either... I don't know. I haven't watched tape on this, so I don't want to mislead you guys, but the way I'm looking at it is either Algeo round 3, unless I really see a lot that I like and I want to add them to like the parlay piece or whatever, maybe. But if Burns is lively and I see a little bit too much positional give, and I like what I see from Herbert Burns and forecast what more we could see even on short notice, maybe I just stay away altogether. But this will be a fight where I'm looking to either, you know, sprinkle round 3, stay away, or sprinkle round 3 and parlay if I really like it. But I don't want to mislead you guys because maybe I watch it and I go, ugh, it's stay away, right? Did not watch tape on that one. That's just my initial thoughts. Don Jung, baby, minus 125. Dustin Jacoby, plus 105. This one opened even, I believe. So money's coming in on Jung. Jacoby's been great for me, man. He's been a money train for me, but he's also been a sweat train because I've had to sweat a lot of these fights. Mainly when it gets in a grappling range, whether it's in the clinch or, you know, which Jacoby's been much better at his takedown defense if you have any kind of grappling involved, right? And Jung arguably will have advantages there. Not that Jacoby's bad in the clinch, but he's probably going to be prioritizing defense/takedown defense, which will give Jung opening for those elbows up high. So I think you can really torture him against the fence here if he gets him there. Big cage, he's really going to have to get past those jabs and low kicks that are going to be at range. I give the edge to Jacoby. But even though I don't think I picked against Jacoby in his recent run, I'm going to pick against him here. I'm not going to play it. I didn't tape study it. Even if I did, I probably... This another fight where it's just, it's competitive as all hell. And you're not getting the greatest price on either guy, although they're both playable by definition. Both plus or minus, right? Favorite or dog. But I will go with Da and Jung by decision. Dwight Grant versus Dustin Stoltzfus. I'm going to go with Stoltzfus here. He's never wooed me, but he has shown improvements between fights for what that's worth. And even though he's not the most active fighter, he's way more active than Grant, which is granted a low bar to clear. But even though I want to give love to my fellow 37-year-old who comes from a martial arts background, and even though, I was feeling like Dwight Grant at times because I just didn't want to get countered by kids. I wanted them to counter me. I was trying to pull things out, and it was just because I didn't want to feel like, am I just being that guy who kind of sits there and stares, because I like countering so much. Yeah, so I definitely don't want to throw shade there, right? Especially as my sad ass gets back into sparring. Who am I to talk, folks? But I'm going to go with Stoltzfus. Did not watch tape on this fight, and even if I did, and even if it reaffirms the dog pick, I'm not getting a crazy number here or anything. It's fairly sketchy fight to kind of have your money on. So, yeah. Definitely dog or pass, so I was just going to pick the dog here, Stoltzfus. Emily Ducote minus 150, Jessica Penne plus 130. I'm going to go with Ducote. Didn't watch this, but I know she's been doing work over there at Invicta. She can get it done both on the feet and on the floor. It looks like she's been getting a bit better on the feet since I saw her last. I haven't really watched tape on her too much since when she was doing stuff with Lena Lee McFarland, I believe, who fought her. I don't know, but yeah. I'm going to go with Ducote here, minus 150, but no play on that. All right, I'm going to clean up the chat, and we will get on out of here. We do on time, 118. Not bad. All right, Mary Rui, what is what was it? Gene Lesser. Do you agree with my assessment? Can we expect better cards moving forward with the UFC having to put on better cards in order to satisfy their live audiences / gate numbers? No, I don't think so. With the effort that they're putting, you got a guy like Jack Shore fighting a week before the London card. Like, that doesn't make any. I know he's Welsh, but I mean, it's a strong road trip for the Welsh people. You got stuff like that. You just got them putting amazing bantamweight cards on the prelims on the regular while forcing heavyweight slog shit. No offense. On the main cards, their deals, them cutting veterans, them cutting people with decent promise, just filing in the Contender Series 12 and 12s. I'm not holding my breath. Mary Rui, what is a whizzer? Sorry, I really do not know. When you hear a whizzer, it's kind of in simple terms, it's not an overhook, but it looks like an overhook. An underhook is under the arm. You're getting under the arm. An overhook is over the arm. A whizzer is a wrestling term for what looks like an overhook, but you're getting the overhook motion. You're wrapping around the arm, and you're hoisting high. This is generally a grip, helps encourage a grip separation, especially you got the bicep control on the other hand, right? A grip separation, you need to have connected grips generally to secure a takedown. And for jiu-jitsu / MMA, the whizzer also acts as a protector of the back. So a lot of times in a crucial scramble, you'll hear the commentator say this whizzer is protecting them from getting their back taken right now. That's what they mean, because it's the only thing keeping that arm and body positioning in place, clamped down. You let go of that, they clear the arm, they can slip out to your back. Whizzer, very important for that reason. Jimmy Kudo, wait, Dan, you misread my question. I said clinch. Who has the better clinch between my... Oh, clinch. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic Dan over here. Who has the better clinch between Muslim and Lee? Muslim's counter clinch has been getting better, but his clinch is mainly more of a safety stall. As far as offense, I would go with Lee. He's not some savant that I can recall beautiful hand fighting tactics that he is doing, but he is a guy that will punch off of breaks. He will knee inside. He's got mean guillotines, which, by the way, that's what I was getting to. All 4 of Lee's wins are by guillotine, and Muslims keep shooting whether he's hurt or not, or he's in trouble. So I think the Lee can, decision is going to be tight. Right, it's going to come down to round 2 and Lee not getting knocked out. But if he doesn't get knocked out, I think at the very least, if he can't knock out Salikov, he can rock him. And if he can rock him, well, that's definitely going to force a shot. And again, Lee's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with all his submission wins by guillotine, and he's got freakish strength. So that hence the round 3 sub Hail Mary. Salikov also clinches a lot more come round 3 because he's more tired and spinning's harder. Rio says, and yes, he keeps making fun of Asians on his show. That's super shitty if that's true. Thanks for the update on that. That's crappy. Campbell Mercer, thank you, Dan, for a well thought out answer. You're welcome. I'm glad I gave a well thought out answer in whatever I answered. Samuel Negrete, can you get any useful insight / info by watching fight card face-offs? Like size and stuff like that, you can get some info. I don't really try to, I don't really think this person looks scared or whatever, or this or that. Like, what was one of the most obvious examples was Rose and Joanna, right? And then what happened? Rose knocked out Joanna, right? She looked like she was scared, and Joanna was doing her demon thing where she kind of looks like the Gozer from Ghostbusters. Wow, Dan, relevant references, please. She's doing her demon golem thing, I guess. And then she got messed up. So no. Although shout to my guy Clint, he does a cool little post weigh-in show. Again, it's give or take on what you can tell by weigh-ins on the scales and stuff as well. But I feel like that, if anything, will be your more deciding factor, right, as far as outcomes. So shout to Clint for his show on that. Mary Rui, I was on Whaley's live chat 2 weeks ago, and she says she's been training at Bangtown MMA with the Hickman brothers. Yeah, that's good. Hickman brothers are good. She said they have a good system. What makes a new gym like that have a good system? I'm not sure, but the Hickman brothers come from good wrestling systems, folk style, collegiate American wrestling systems, and incorporate that heavily from what I'm told, and brought that with them over to Thailand. So kind of having that influence there is really good, especially to continue off of whatever wrestling work she did with Cejudo. So I'm sure the Hickman brothers are a big reason for her liking their system there, especially with her liking wrestling, right? Kind of 1-1 together. That's my guess. I mean, I'm just speculating. Ryu Sozin says, Campbell said he was happy that Kyoji got KTFO because Pettis is from the U.S. Jesus. Kyoji is awesome. How can someone hate him for being from Japan? Wow. I hope he doesn't hate him from Japan. Hopefully that's just nationalism, which is, it's one thing. But, like, yeah, I don't know, man. I can't speak for Campbell. I didn't say that, and I don't want to weigh in on something I didn't see. But, that's crappy if there's a trend there. But, again, man, y'all making me state the obvious here, Go look for yourself. Compare the social media accounts to a lot of these Asian fighters. Compared to some of them, you look at the type of insults and the type of comments. It's definitely of a certain kind. So, these are real trends. So whatever, sucks. Not whatever, it sucks. But I'm not trying to sound like I don't care. But you know what I mean. It's just gonna get me riled up. Ghost Phantom 98. Do you like step up lead left kicks or lead left kicks from the stance, in a close stance matchup? Step up, I'm guessing that's like that little switch step before it, or throwing it straight out of the stance, which is often, I believe, like more associated stereotype with more traditional martial artists. Though, I mean, I've seen Thai fighters and Thai style kicks thrown really heavily to the body in a countering fashion, off that lead leg as they're kind of backstepping into like a southpaw stance. There's that too, right? But as far as for what you asked, if that's my interpretation of it, that is correct. Me personally, probably whatever the step-up version is you're referring to, if that involves some kind of a shuffle. So whether I'm shuffling and kicking and returning back to an orthodox stance or shifting into my preferred natural southpaw stance, I like that excuse to shift back and forth from stances because I like to and fancy myself from both stances. So I would take the other option than the more option that maybe someone else would think I would take, being, having my karate background as well and taekwondo background. Don't feel that great from that. Although my left kick feels much better than my right kick because my hip, I still have somewhat of a hip flexor on that side. But yeah. Pascal, what is your strategy when it comes to tape study? Do you watch the last 3 fights from both fighters? Do you look to prior or similar matchups? Relevant fights are always weighed heavier than others, but styles make fights, and regardless of, you should always watch as much relevant stuff as you can. Obviously, like, at least their last fight, at least their last 2 fights. But if there's, like, specific style matchups, and one of their, like, second to last fight is a specific non-style matchup that has very little relevance, then yeah, I'll probably skip through and just watch the relevance. I'll probably favor style over relevancy in that case, but you do need relevancy, right? To see what they've been doing and to kind of help gauge how they've been improving. Like, there's no non-relevant fights. I mean, all fights are going to tell you something, right? Even though I don't, believe you have to and don't necessarily do it myself as far as going all the way back to watch like very beginning fights because they're different fighters. But I would still argue those fights also have value because you'll be able to see how far they came in comparison to other fighters. And when you build up those sample sizes and reps, maybe you can kind of have a gauging of like learning curve, right? And that'll tell you their overall learning curve. Not tell you, but you'll get a better gauge of it. So everything has a purpose, but you can't watch everything, which is my problem. So that's my strategy. All right, stepping up by bringing the rear leg up by not all the way through to southpaw. By bringing the rear leg up but not all the way to southpaw. Like a step up inside low kick where you skip up your rear leg to your heel. Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah. I definitely love that. Depending on what stance too and how you do it, there's a taekwondo tactic. I don't hear people refer to it, but it's called pole dragging, and it's a way you drag instead of a step, but it's a similar motion, and you're dragging your heel up to your front foot, but it's kind of off of a launch. So if these are my feet, and this leg's coming up to kick to the side, and the opponent's over here, right? This other foot is almost, it's cheating. God, I I wish I could show it to you guys. It's a really cool gauging technique, though. And you can, if someone thinks they're too farther to be hit, you can still kind of pull drag to them. Maybe you mix it in with the modernized MMA oblique kick to the knee, right? You really can kick at their leg at a safe distance. Whatever. Like a pendulum kick. Oh, yeah, pendulum kick. Okay, yeah. I prefer those styles for sure. But again, that's just all preference. That doesn't mean it's better, right? It's scenario. It's who you are. Pole dragging. I like that term. Yeah, I'll try to find something to share on it. And who knows? Maybe if I get my ass back on camera doing some of that shadow boxing stuff, I'll show examples of that. Man, thank you guys for joining. I'm gonna start wrapping this up though. I'm gonna jump over to my guy Eric's channel. Here, I'm gonna give him a shout. Actually, right here, give him an official shout. Here we go. Yeah, Eric Bets Fights. He's right over here, up in the chat. Go to his channel. I'll be there. I'm gonna see what trivia he's got lined up for me. Eric always runs a great show. Like and subscribe. I'm gonna recap picks and plays and get the F out of here. Thanks for joining me and putting up for you audio listeners with the live chat interaction, which I'm enjoying, by the way. Thank you, Daniel Tom MMA, mixedmartialanalyst.com. Again, if you want to get on that read-through list or support the show, the PayPal link at Dan Tom MMA. For all the links, including a secure PayPal link to support the show, recapping picks and plays. I am taking Ortega over Rodriguez, taking Lemos over Waterson, taking Lee the Leech over Salikov, taking Sumaderji over Matt Schnell. Can't you smell that smell? Taking Burgos over Jourdain, taking Tate over Murphy, taking Soriano over Lungjambula, taking Shore over Simon Vato, but that's a definite dog or pass spot, taking Algio over Burns, taking Don Jung over Dustin Jacoby, taking Stoltzfus, really into Germany, over Grant, taking Ducati, taking the motorcycle over the pasta, Penny. Plays. I don't know what I'm going to do for a parlay. Maybe I put like Lemos, Soriano, and something else if I'm feeling froggy to try to get some chalk balance to the force. Played Lee plus 140 at a unit. You don't have to follow me off that cliff, but do believe that there's value on Lee by sub plus 1200 0.17 unit, and Lee round 3 plus 1200 0.17 unit as well, 17 ducats. Most confident plays Ortega by sub, threw a whole ducat on that, plus 210. Hopefully make back the Lee exposure if I just eat shit and fall on my face on that. Also, in one house I did take, you know me, I got to take a little bit of round 3 sub plus 1400 0.17 U as well for Ortega. And that's it. Not really looking at too much else aside from what I already told you. I will post everything at Dan Tom MMA. Good luck on your picks and plays. Thanks for the love in the chat. And always protect your neck.